Hello, welcome to Casual Veteran Gamer, and in the video today we are looking at the last magic initiate feat we currently have, which is for Wizard. Learn 2 cantrips and a first level spell from the Wizard spell list. You can cast the first level spell once per long rest. Your spellcasting modifier for all 3 spells is Intelligence. We've got a list of cantrips here. It's probably the best list we've got out of all the classes currently. There's a lot of choice. Friends is also one of the possible cantrips, but this character is a high elf and already has picked the Friends cantrip, so that's why it doesn't appear here. If your character has a low intelligence, you would want to pick cantrips and spells that don't use the intelligence modifier. So maybe Blade Ward, the light spells are good for the Underdark. Mage Hand, Minor Illusion's okay. I wouldn't pick any of the others if you have a low intelligence stat. If you have a high intelligence stat, then maybe you could pick an attacking cantrip if your character doesn't already have a good weapon or cantrip themselves. I'm not going to be showing off the cantrips here. Then we come to the first level spells. The great thing about this feat is there are 20 spells to pick from. This is the largest choice out of any of the magic initiate feats. I don't have time to go through all of these spells in this video, but again, if you don't have a high intelligence stat, you would want to go for spells that don't use the spellcasting modifier. So Colour Spray, Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, False Life, Featherfall, Find Familiar. Fog Cloud would work as well. Jump, Long Strider, Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Protection from Evil and Good, and Sleep. There's a large choice of spells where you don't need a high intelligence modifier. And there are a couple of bugged spells here, just like there is for Hex if you use the Magic Initiate Warlock feat. So we've got Disguise Self is one of them, and I'll show you the other one very soon. So we're only supposed to be able to cast Disguise Self once per long rest. So I don't know, I'll be a masculine halfling. Change into a halfling. No, that's cool. I'm a halfling now. And that should be it. That should be all I can turn myself into this long rest. But we've got all the choices that we can use once per long rest. I'm not saying you'd actually get a use out of all of these in every long rest, but it's something to keep in mind if you like Disguise Self. If you take it with the Magic Initiate Wizard feat, you've got all the choices once per long rest. The other spell that lets us have 6 different variants, in fact, is Find Familiar. So here I am in the same place, and I can choose Find Familiar. Let's start with a rat. But maybe you don't like the rat, so instead you're going to get the crab out. The point here is we're only supposed to be able to cast Find Familiar once per long rest. But with all these different variants, we can cast it 6 times. Although, admittedly, each of these variants is actually fairly different to each other. I think a special mention needs to go for True Strike. So if we cast it before combat, then we can get advantage on our first attack. But as soon as you take any attack, True Strike is gone. Now you might think, oh wow, look, you can get 2 advantage on 2 attacks. One thing you've got to remember is that we could have had advantage immediately, could have had a sneak attack, and now I've used my action, I cannot get a sneak attack, and our offhand attack is just 1d6 damage, or 1d6 plus 1 depending on short sword. But True Strike, as soon as you have a single attack against a target, it disappears. Please don't make the mistake of taking True Strike. The last thing worth mentioning is that even if your character has a low intelligence, we can get the Warped Headband of Intellect, and when we equip it, our intelligence goes up to 18. You don't need to do this before taking the feat. It's now okay to pick a spell that uses intelligence for the modifier, whether that's for the saving throw or the attack bonus. So maybe I want to take, for some reason, I want to take Firebolt, and I want to take Ray of Frost, and that will be fine. And then here, I want to get up close and personal, so I can take Burning Hands. So when we look at the character in a bit more detail, our spell attack is +6, which is just as good as the melee attack. The spell difficulty class, it says 10, but I think it's basing that off, I'm not even sure it's basing that off, maybe Charisma, which is incorrect, or Constitution. Let's test it out on one of these poor fellows. So, let's just pause it for anyone does something silly. So the saving throw is DC 14, which is what we would expect if the intelligence is 18. On the character information screen, the character sheet, bear in mind that this is incorrect for intelligence, but the spell attack is correct. So overall, I'd give this a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10 if you're going to abuse the bugs here. We've got a great selection of spells, and we've got an item that can increase your intelligence so that it actually goes up to a good amount. Anyway, let me know what you think about this feat and any of the comments I've made. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please do consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.